what is genealogy but looking at your descent from the past? And that's what this is. It is a direct line of descent from Charlemagne, famous king in Europe 1200 years ago, to us. Now, everybody in the Western world is descended from Charlemagne, but not everybody can trace it. We can. So he had an empire there, and one of his sons, Pippin, became king of Italy. That led to a couple of guys who were the counts of Vermandois, and one of their sisters married a guy named Robert I, who founded France. His grandson, Hugh Capet, founded the Capetian dynasty that ruled France for 1,000 years. Meanwhile, some Vikings who conquered and lived in Normandy decided to invade England. William the Conqueror married one of Hugh Capet's granddaughters and had Henry I, who had Matilda, and led to all the kings and queens of England, including Henry II and Eleanor of Aquitaine, very famous court. And their son John, who you might remember from Robin Hood, he actually went on to have Henry III, who married the hottest girl in Europe, Eleanor of Provence. Their son Edward married Eleanor of Castile, and one of their kids married a knight. The other was Edward II, King of England, who married the Isabel, daughter of the King of France, and brought bling to the English coat of arms. Edward III, his son, was one of the most famous and good kings in English history, ruled 50 years. But after him, it was a war of the roses. Son after son after son tried to rule, but none of it worked out until 5 generations later, Henry VIII put it all back into one person. So the past, the present, what was, what is, leading to us, and a couple people who eventually then, their people went across the ocean. Yep, it was rough. When they first got to America, what did they see? This, and they had to turn this into this by hand, and they did. About 70 years. And then there was a woman who killed some Indians and escaped, and then there were people who went out into the woods, and they normalized, became American, and we were related to Mark Twain. And then our great-grandpa, who was a child of George Campbell and Sarah Taylor there, he and his children, our grandpa, they lived through the greatest change in recent memory, the loss of innocence as machines took over warfare. Grandpa saw it firsthand. Great war to end all wars. But somehow, he made it through. To the point where he's racing cars in the 1930s. It's a lady. She becomes part of the Social Security Agency as it starts. She's one of those women in Baltimore in the 1930s. Of course, they built a house, had a life, some daughters, a son. That son was on a boat that caught people from space. How cool is that? And they each married somebody, a man from England, a woman from Minnesota, and had us. And as we've grown, we've learned how to smile, mug for the camera, make videos, and make babies of our own, who will do nothing but rock the future, and on and on and on, because that's what it's all about. From the past, through us, to the future. So that's 42nd great grandpa Charlemagne down to us. And as an afterthought, here are the Campbell siblings, at least the ones we have pictures of. John, Thomas, Henry, Amanda, and George. Thomas, Henry, and George got together in 1907, or 1904, the last picture. The past, the future takes root in the present.